Welcome back, family. So, today's mortgage tip is what it means to lock a loan with me. I think it's best that I kind of walk you through what actually happened personally to me, how I came up with this realization, and I want to provide you guys with this skill today. So, back in 2018, I worked for a company that extensively only used lending tree leads. This was a very small mom and pop business. And when I started, there were only four LOs. I thought I was hot stuff as I knew how to close and had been in the industry for 20 years. This, I was to come to find out, was a whole different ball game. First day, I jumped on the phones and had no problems getting an application. Once I was done with the application, I would price out the loan, and then I would get a tentative commitment and proceed to lock the client's loan. They seemed happy. I felt that I did a great job, and I would move on to the next call and get another app and another lock, so on and so forth. I was locking down 3 to 5 people a day. I was just shooting fish in the barrel. Now, listen, I loved the company. It was a fast paced environment and it felt like the boiler room. If you guys haven't watched that movie, you need to go watch it. I felt like we were the boiler room. It was the perfect place for me, the best of the best. And the LOs that were there were extremely good. It was a very competitive atmosphere, and everyone was on their A game day in and day out. I was only working Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I was working 12 to 14 hours on these days to make up for the lost days during the week, but it was a full time gig. And because I was a single father and had my daughter during the week, I was taking Tuesday and Thursday off to be with her while her mother picked her up on Fridays for the weekend. So I knew I was going to be on short days and I had to make the most out of this 3 day work week. A month went by, and I'll never forget the owner came by my desk. It was a Friday afternoon. He looked at me and I said, "What's up, man? How you doing?" I had been killing it with applications and I thought he was going to give me praise. I thought he was going to say, hey, listen, man, it's time to be promoted to manager in such a short span of time. All of these great ideas and thoughts flooded my mind. He just stood there and looked at me. I'm like, this is weird. Like, why is this guy standing there and looking at me? Now the guy was like 6'5". I'm sitting down, so he's just sitting there staring and looking at me. I'll never forget this. He said, "I was looking at your numbers, and you're only funding at a 40% rate. Our office averages 70% funding rate." And then he just shook his head and walked away. As I sat there in disbelief, my whole mood changed from going from the hot guy in the office to the worst closing rate in the office was a huge slap in my face. I couldn't believe that people were canceling their loans with me. I thought, am I now on the chopping block? I mean, I love this company and I want to stay with them. I'm the only person in the office not working Monday through Friday. And needless to say, I was extremely scared. I thought not only was my 3 day work week an issue, but now I'm the lowest pull through ratio in the office. I finally found a place where I want to be, and I'm about to lose this great opportunity. So after the conversation, I just kind of sat there for a little bit. I didn't take any more calls. I just was thinking. And of course, at the time, I just started going to the blame route. I blamed the processing for not ordering the appraisal fast enough. I blamed Lending Tree. Why are they selling it to so many people? Um, you know, it was I just was blaming everybody. Even after I locked an interest rate for the clients, they were being bombarded with phone calls every day. And God forbid if rates went down by an eighth, people would jump ship to save $8 a month. It was a very high pace, competitive market. Uh, and I thought that the problem couldn't be me. I was pointing fingers in every direction instead of where I should have been pointing them, which was directly at myself. As soon as I got home, I poured a drink. As I sat there drinking my worries away, I reflected on my pitch. I'm like, okay, well, I do a great job during the application process. I know we've got very good competitive interest rates. I'm educating my borrowers during the loan process. I then started thinking away from myself and putting myself into my client's shoes. I thought, Well, they get calls and competitive offers each and every day. They are using my rate probably to go see if they can get a better offer. They're also, when I lock them, they're receiving a loan estimate. They're probably taking that and providing it as proof that they do have a lock loan. And of course, these other companies are going to give them a better deal, right? I'm already showing them everything. And now I've given them proof. And so they're using that as a tool. I mean, hey, I'd do that. I mean, why not, right? If you can. So then I started thinking, okay, this must be the problem. How can I stop this from happening? And then, boom, the thought hit me. What I wasn't doing was explaining what it meant to lock a loan with me. See, I was assuming that I did a great job and they wouldn't cancel the transaction. I was assuming that, hey, we found our guy. There's no need to shop anymore. He is the end all be all. And the problem was my assumptions were incorrect. I wasn't explaining how it could affect my company's interest rates as a whole. That once the loan was locked, my team was 100% committed to funding their loan as quickly as possible. That by canceling their loan with my team, we're wasting our time on the files that are actually really committed to us to fund. So the rest of the weekend, in my head, I created a script. I would, after I received a tentative commitment, I was going to start giving them a whole different conversation. We are going to have a whole different talk. I was going to take a minimum of 15 minutes explaining what it meant to lock a loan with me. I then was going to ask them, knowing all of this information and how it could affect not only myself, but my company, if they were going to give me 100% commitment to stay the course and fund the loan with us. So Monday came around, I was pumped up. I was ready. Again, I had no problems getting an application or locking a rate. I really wanted to see how this end of the application and locking process conversation was going to go. So, as you guys may think, yes, it was very rough around the edges at first. But the first client agreed, and guess what? They didn't cancel. As I kept explaining this to my borrowers, my pitch got better and better. And when I had it all dialed in, it actually turned out to being like a 30-minute conversation. I wanted to make sure I took the time to answer any objections or anything before I went on to the next step. I went from 40% funding rate to 90 almost overnight. I also had the highest funding rate in the office, right? So now I'm the highest. I became the top funder in the office and I only had one state license while everyone else had multiple state licenses. And I also was only working 3 days a week. The point is, clients don't know what they don't know. If we don't take the time to explain the next step and what the consequences will be from their actions on that step, then it's ultimately our fault. Assumptions will kill your business. Assumptions will kill your personal life. Assuming things only provides your thoughts to your questions. You aren't allowing the other person's thoughts to answer your questions because you're assuming the answer. Ask questions and listen. If you don't understand, then ask more questions until you do understand. I still to this day do this pitch and it never fails. Now, listen, 9 out of 10 people will keep their commitment on my loans. Even if they threaten to cancel, I will refer them back to this conversation we had and they will end up keeping the loan. Most people are a man or a woman of their word. You still will get that one person that isn't a man or a woman of their word. And guess what? It's okay because you can't control others, but you can control yourself. Finding this approach changed my life and my career forever. Well, my friends, I hope this message finds you well. And as always, stay hungry.